السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على السيد الحبيب المصطفى وعلى آله وأصحابه نجوم الهدى قادة التقى. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا مولانا محمد كما تحب وترضى عدد ما تحب وترضى كل ما ذكره الذاكرون وكل ما غفل عن ذكره الغافلون. اللهم اغفر لنا وارحمنا ومشايخنا ووفقنا لما تحب وترضى من القول والعمل وجنبنا الفواحش والمعاصي والخطايا والزلل. اللهم آثرنا ولا تؤثر علينا، اللهم أعطنا ولا تحرمنا، اللهم أكرمنا ولا تهنا، اللهم أرضنا عنك وارض عنا، اللهم أصلح لنا شأننا كله لا إله إلا أنت. أما بعد. We are reading Riyadhus Saliheen. We are into the Hadith number 30 regarding Babu Sabr, patience. We were reading the Hadith of Sayyiduna Suhaib radiyallahu anhu regarding the young man whose name is Abdullah ibn Tamir, who was from the area of Yemen. And in that area there was a king who was an idol worshipper, and he used to force people to worship him and the idols. So his kingdom was controlled by a magician. When the magician Sahir became old, he said to the king that if you want to save your kingdom and let it rule as it normally is, then you will have to give me some young man who can learn sihr and magic from me, and then he can control your kingdom as well. So he chose one bright young man and told him to go to the Sahir, the magician, and you come here, my friend. Here. Leave me over here. Over here. Better. Take one out here. Bye. Sit. السلام عليكم شيخ، كيف حالكم؟
عليكم السلام شيخ، الحمد لله.
بخير.
الله يعافيك. جزاك الله خير. هري. بسم الله. جزاك الله خير.
So he said to the young man, you have to go and learn magic from this Sahir, and then you will have to control my kingdom. And the young man started to go and learn. On the way he used to pass by this Rahib, monk who is busy in worship. So he used to look at the worshipper and he used to say, this man is doing good ibadat, worship, ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he went and sat with him, and then he started learning from him as well. Now over there he is learning some magic, and over here he is learning some ibadat, deen, religion. And the young man is still confused, he is not settled yet. So what is happening is every day he is learning both things. Now during this happening, one day he was passing by and people were running off, and he asked them what's happened, and they said there's a lion over here which is stopping everyone. So he said, today I will find out who is better, the Sahir or the Rahib. So he took a stone and then he said, oh Allah, if the matter of the Sahir is, or matter of the Rahib is more beloved to you than the Sahir magician, then kill this lion with one stone. And he hit the stone and the lion fell dead. So people started talking, oh, wow, he has done something which nobody could have done. Now people started coming to him and they started asking him to make dua, to blow on them some ruqya or something. And sick people would come and they would say, please cure me. And he would say, I don't cure anyone, Allah cures. I ask Allah to cure you. If you believe in Allah, then I will make dua and pray to Allah to cure you. Then when he would believe, he would make dua, the person would be cured. Now people started coming to him in flocks and numbers, huge numbers. And one of the attendants of the king, Jalisul Malik, was blind, and he thought that let me go on asking, maybe this person can give me shifa. So he brought plenty of gifts. And he said, that young man, I hear that you cure people, take all this gift and cure me, give me my eyesight back. So he said, I don't cure anyone, Allah cures. You believe in Allah, I will make dua. If Allah wishes, Allah will cure you. So he said, okay. He said the kalima at that time, La ilaha illallah, Isa ruhullah wa kalimatuhu. Like we say, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. This La ilaha illallah has always been the same. The first juz. The second juz kept on changing. La ilaha illallah, Adam Safiyullah. La ilaha illallah, Nuh Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah, Ibrahim Khalilullah. La ilaha illallah, Musa Kalimullah. La ilaha illallah, Isa Ruhullah. And La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. So because this was after the time of Isa alayhi salam, and the community at that time was Christians and they were on the correct path, so he was also a proper Unitarian, one believing in one God, one Allah, and believing in Isa alayhi salam as Ruhullah wa kalimatuhu. So he recited the kalima, and the young man made dua. The king's attendant was cured, his eyesight was regained. He came back next day and sat with the king, and the king asked him, who gave you shifa? And he said, my Rabb gave me shifa. He said, who is your Rabb? I am your Rabb. And the attendant said, no, you're not my Rabb. My Rabb and your Rabb is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is Rabbul Alameen. He cures, He gives shifa. So the king got angry and said, who told you this? And he started beating him up, beating, torturing. And he said, the young man taught me. And the young man was brought. And he said, oh young man, your magic is working now. You have learned magic properly, haven't you? You cure the born blind and the leper and all these sick people through magic. So the young man said, not through magic. I don't cure, Allah cures. And he started beating him. Who taught you this? Who taught you this? And he was forced to say the name of the Rahib. So he told him the name of the Rahib. And the Rahib monk was brought and he started torturing him and forced him to renounce his deen. But the Rahib said, no, you can beat me up, you can kill me, but I won't disbelieve in Allah. I believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a temporary test. This life is a trial, imtihan, ikhtibar, test. And I don't care if you kill me, but I won't renounce and I won't become murtad and apostate. I can't commit shirk. So he asked for a saw and he cut him into two pieces. And then he called for the attendant and he killed the attendant as well in that manner. And then he called for the young man and he forced him to renounce the deen. But the young man said, no, I can't do that. So the king said that I don't want to kill you like I killed these two. Take this young man and throw him from the top of a mountain. This is where we had reached last week, and we have to read from ثُمَّ جِيءَ بِالْغُلَامِ. Then the young man was brought forward. فَقِيلَ لَهُ إِرْجِعْ عَنْ دِينِكَ فَأَبَى. Return from your deen, but he refused. فَدَفَعَهُ إِلَى نَفَرٍ مِّنْ أَصْحَابِهِ. He handed him over to a group from among his companions, soldiers, and said, اذهبوا به إلى جبل كذا وكذا فاصعدوا به الجبل فإذا بلغتم ذروته فإن رجع عن دينه وإلا فاطرحوه. Take him to so and so mountain and make him climb that mountain. When you get to the top, then if he renounces his deen, then okay, bring him back safely. Otherwise, throw him from the top of the cliff so that he may die beneath the mountains. Lions and bears could come and eat him up. So فَذَهَبُوا بِهِ, they took him up. فَصَعِدُوا بِهِ الْجَبَلِ, and they made him climb the mountain. فَقَالَ اللَّهُمَّ اكْفِنِيهِمْ بِمَا شِئْتَ. And the young man, when reaching the top, he said, O Allah, you suffice me from these soldiers in whatever manner you feel right. فَرَجَفَ بِهِمُ الْجَبَلِ فَسَقَطُوا. There was an earthquake and the mountain was shaking and they all fell down the mountain. However, the young man was saved وَجَاءَ يَمْشِي إِلَى الْمَلِكِ He came walking to the king. Now he did not want to kill him because he said, you are still a young man and you are immature, and why should I kill a young man with a sword? Take him away. I don't want to kill him in front of my eyes. Just throw him from the mountain. So they took him to the cliff, and when they reached the top, they were about to throw, and he said, oh Allah, Allahumma kfinihim bima shita. Allah, help me, please. You be kafi from me. You know, in Quran Allah says, وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ وَكِيلًا وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ حَسِيبًا أَلَيْسَ اللَّهُ بِكَافٍ عَبْدَهُ Is Allah not enough for His servant, meaning Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? And in another place, Allah is enough as a wakil, disposer of affair. Allah is enough as a hasib, a taker of accounts. So Allah is enough for us. And we should realize that Allah huwa al-kafi, huwa al-shafi, huwa al-kafi. He is the curer and He is the kafi. He is enough for us. So he said, oh Allah, you be enough for me. Meaning protect me, take care of me from whatever these people intend to do with me. So Allah accepted this dua, and Allah caused the mountain to shake, and they all fell and they died, but he came down safely. Nothing happened to him. Allah has the power to do that. Now this dua, Allahumma kfinihim bima shi'ta, is very powerful. Whenever you are scared of an enemy, just repeat this dua many times. Allahumma kfinihim bima shi'ta, Allahumma kfinihim bima shi'ta, Allahumma kfinihim bima shi'ta. And Allah will help you take care of you. Some other du'as are also mentioned. Like in one instance, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught, Allahumma inna naj'aluka fi nuhurihim wa na'udhu bika min shururihim. Oh Allah, we place you in front of these people and we take your refuge from their evils. Whatever they intend to do with me, please protect us, and you be enough and suffice for us and take care of us. This dua is very, very powerful. So whenever you are scared of someone who's trying to harm you, who's after you, who's harassing you, and who's, for example, stalking you, running after you all the time, every day, and trying to burgle your house, attack you, attempt to harm you, then read this dua, and inshallah, summa inshallah, Allah will protect you and take care of you. My Ustad, Hazrat Shaykh Yunus Sahib was once with us in Medina Munawwara, and this person came to meet him. He sat down, he met him, and then he said, Shaykh, I'm in a terrible state. The authorities are after me for no reason. They have taken my iqama over here, and they are asking for this and that, and they are harassing me every day. Please make dua for me. And Shaykh said that read this dua, Allahumma kfinihim bima shi'ta, 11 times every day after Isha Salah. And then raise your hands, make your dua. Inshallah, Allah will take care of you. And the person started practicing every day after Isha Salah, 11 times, Allahumma kfinihim bima shi'ta, Allahumma kfinihim bima shi'ta, Allahumma kfinihim bima shi'ta. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala heard his dua, and his problem was solved. And everything was made easy for him from the authorities. Whatever visa problem, iqama problem, Allah sorted it out for him. So you make this dua, turn to Allah. Allah knows everything. Allah is the controller of hearts. He is the disposer of affairs. He will take care of your affairs and your matters when you turn to Allah. This is the power of this dua which this young man made while he was at the top of the mountain. Now, وَجَاءَ يَمْشِي إِلَى الْمَلِكِ He came back walking to the Malik. Why did he come back walking to the Malik? Because he wanted the Malik to come on the right path. He wanted the Malik to see the right path. That look, it is Allah who does everything. Your soldiers could not harm me even though they were plenty in numbers and I was alone. But Allah helped me, so you should believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So because he wanted the king to come on hidayah, that's why he came back walking to the king and said, oh king, please don't do this, believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He tried to explain to him again. Like Sayyidina Musa ala nabiyina wa alayhi salam. He came to Fir'aun, he tried to explain to him. But still Fir'aun did not understand. Same over here, this king was blinded by his faith and his belief in the idols, and his heart had no eyesight, and his heart did not accept the guidance which was being offered to him. So he came to the Malik, and Malik asked him, "Ma fa'ala bi ashabuka? Ya ma fu'ila bi ashabika?" What happened to your companions, those soldiers who were with you? فَقَالَ كَفَانِيهِمُ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى. Allah sufficed me from them. فَدَفَعَهُ إِلَى نَفَرٍ مِّنْ أَصْحَابِهِ. He handed the young boy over to another group of soldiers. فَقَالَ اذْهَبُوا بِهِ فَاحْمِلُوهُ فِي قُرْقُورٍ وَتَوَسَّطُوا بِهِ الْبَحْرَ. Take him, carry him in a ship, and go to the middle of the ocean. فَإِنْ رَجَعَ عَنْ دِينِهِ وَإِلَّا فَاقْذِفُوهُ. If he returns from his beliefs and renounces his faith, then okay, bring him back. Otherwise, throw him in the ocean. فَذَهَبُوا بِهِ. They went with him. قَالَ اللَّهُمَّ اكْفِنِيهِمْ بِمَا شِئْتَ. O Allah, suffice me from these evils with whatever manner you feel good. فَانْكَفَأَتْ بِهِمْ السَّفِينَةُ. A storm came and the ship was toppled over. فَغَرِقُوا. And all the soldiers were drowned. And وَجَاءَ يَمْشِي الْمَلِكِ. However, he came to the king walking. اذهبوا به فاحملوا في قرقور. Qurqur means a boat or a ship. توسطوا به البحر. Take him to the middle of the ocean so that he can't swim back. Because if he was close to the shore, he might even swim back to the land. But if he's in the middle of the ocean, then he can't swim because human energy, strength is not that much that he can swim to the shore from middle of the ocean. So take him to the middle and throw him inside the middle. They went with him, he made the same dua, but again, over here as well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent a storm and wind and blizzard and hurricane. And in that hurricane, the ship was toppled over and they all drowned. However, he was saved and he came back walking to the king. Walking to the king, how he was saved, Allah knows best. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sometimes let Sayyiduna Isa ala nabiyina wa alayhi salam walk on water as well. Once Sayyiduna Isa ala nabiyina wa alayhi salam was traveling because he would not stay in one place, he would always move around and give da'wah to Bani Israel. So he was walking, one person from among his Hawarijin or someone gave him company. So Isa alayhi salam came to a river and he needed to cross it. So Isa alayhi salam told him, go back. He said, no, I want to stay with you. Okay. So Isa alayhi salam started walking on the water, like we walk on the land. So the Hawari also started walking behind him. When they reached the middle, the Hawari thought to himself that, I am something. I am also walking on water. Now this pride and feeling of good, Allah doesn't like that. So immediately Allah took away that blessing and he started drowning. So he said to Isa, please save me, Isa, save me, Isa alayhi salam. So Isa alayhi salam turned around and told him, why did you let such thoughts of pride come in your mind? This is kibr, takabbur, fakhar. Allah doesn't like this kibr. We should humble before Allah that it is Allah who helps us to walk on water. We don't have any ability to walk on the water. Isa alayhi salam held his hand and brought him out, saved him. But this shows the effects of pride and haughtiness. We should never feel proud upon anything we have. Any ibadat we do, or any good looks we have, any good clothes, any good money, house, whatever we have, good children, we should never feel pride. We should always feel they are blessing of Allah, ni'mat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam used to walk on water. Maybe this young man also walked on the water. And he came back to the king. And again he came to the king again, because he wanted to invite the king again to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Maybe this time the king would understand. However, this time the king got more angry, and he was in a fit of anger. He wanted to kill him. So the ghulam, the young man, gave him an idea of how to kill him. This is what is mentioned. وَجَاءَ يَمْشِي إِلَى الْمَلِكِ فَقَالَ لَهُ الْمَلِكُ مَا فُعِلَ بِأَصْحَابِكَ. What happened to your friends, to the soldiers? فَقَالَ كَفَانِيهِمُ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى. Allah was there, He was enough for me. فَقَالَ لِلْمَلِكِ إِنَّكَ لَسْتَ بِقَاتِلِي حَتَّى تَفْعَلَ مَا آمُرُكَ بِهِ. You can't kill me until you do what I say. قَالَ مَا هُوَ. What's that? قَالَ تَجْمَعُ النَّاسَ فِي صَعِيدٍ وَاحِدٍ. You gather the people in one open area. وَتَصْلُبُنِي عَلَى جِزْعٍ, and you hang me and tie me to a piece of wood. ثُمَّ خُذْ سَهْمًا مِنْ كِنَانَتِي, then take one arrow from my quiver, my bag of arrows. ثُمَّ ضَعِ السَّهْمَ فِي كَبِدِ الْقَوْسِ, then put the arrow in the middle of the bow, and ثُمَّ قُلْ, then say, بِسْمِ اللَّهِ رَبِّ الْغُلَامِ, in the name of Allah, the Rabb of this young man. ثُمَّ ارْمِنِي, then shoot me. فَإِنَّكَ إِذَا فَعَلْتَ ذَلِكَ قَتَلْتَنِي, when you do this, you will kill me. فَجَمَعَ النَّاسَ فِي صَعِيدٍ وَاحِدٍ, the young man told him that you can only kill me in the way which I tell you to do so. The young man was ready. He knew that this king is not going to get hidayah, and he is going to kill me anyway. So let me do something before he kills me. He wanted the people to know that the king is wrong, and that Allah is Allah, and He is the only one who should be worshipped, and we should believe in Tawheed, oneness of Allah. So in order to spread the message, he said, if you want to kill me, then hang me with a wood. In those days they used to hang people on cross. This was the normal way of killing people at that time. Whenever they wanted to kill someone, some prisoner or someone, they would tie him with a cross and put nails in his hands and feet, and then hang him and leave him there for a few days until he would die with that bleeding. So that was the normal way of killing in those days. So he said, you tie me with one of the pieces of wood or a cross or whatever you want to, and then he said, you take one arrow from my quiver, my bag, and shoot me with that arrow, and before you shoot, you should say, Bismillahi Rabbil Ghulam. Now he didn't only say Bismillah because people might think, who is this Allah? It might be the Lord of the king whom he worships, the idols. So that's why he added Rabbil Ghulam, in the name of Allah, the Rabb of this Ghulam, and who he used to believe in. So the king did this, and he, which the hadith said, فَجَمَعَ النَّاسَ فِي صَعِيدٍ وَاحِدٍ, he gathered everybody, all the town and the city, in one big, huge, massive arena, open area. وَصَلَبَهُ عَلَى جِزْعٍ, he put him on a salim, on a piece of wood. And ثُمَّ أَخَذَ سَهْمًا مِنْ كِنَانَتِهِ, took one arrow from his quiver, and then he put the arrow in the middle of the qaws, the bow, and then he said, Bismillah Rabbil Ghulam, and shot him. And the arrow hit the young man fi sudghihi. Sudgh means this side, because he turned his face and the arrow hit him over here, on near his ears and between his eyes, this area. So it pierced him, and the ghulam, because he started bleeding, and in the meantime he took the arrow out and he put his hand over there and he lowered his head, and in this manner he passed away. Now, ثم رماه فوقع السهم في صدغه فوضع يده في صدغه فمات. He put his hand on that area and he died. I am stressing on this because there is an incident narrated that during the time of Sayyidina Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, when the Islamic armies went to that area of Yemen where this incident happened, it so happened that this young man, Abdullah ibn Tamir's grave, somehow came out into the open. And sometimes when rainwater comes and slowly the mud, takes it all away, then many graves open up. Like in Maidan of Uhud, the area of Uhud, because the shuhada of Uhud are buried beneath the mountain. So sometimes the rainwater would come and take the mud away, and the qabrs would open up. Once the qubur opened up, and Sayyidina Hamza radiallahu anhu's body was opened up. Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Amr ibn Haram, who is the father of Sayyidina Jabir ibn Abdullah, his body was opened up. And his body was as intact after 46 years as though it was buried yesterday. Nothing had changed in the body of Abdullah ibn Amr ibn Haram after 46 years. The earth did not eat up the body of Abdullah ibn Amr ibn Haram. This is in the books of Hadith, in Sahih al-Bukhari. It was in the same state as it was buried. except for a little غَيْرُ هُنَيَّةٍ فِي أُذُنِهِ, a little bit of a defect over here in the ear. Besides that, his face and everything was the same as Jabir had buried him 46 years ago. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala many times keeps the bodies of the shuhada intact as they were buried. This is what Allah said, وَلَا تَقُولُوا لِمَنْ يُقْتَلُ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَمْوَاتٍ بَلْ أَحْيَاءٌ وَلَكِنْ لَا تَشْعُرُونَ. Do not say with regards to the shuhada that they are dead. Nay, they are alive. However, you do not perceive, you do not understand. Over here as well, during the time of Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, this army went on that area of Yemen, and Abdullah ibn Tamir's qabr opened up, and that army saw Abdullah ibn Tamir, this young man, and his hand was near his ears where he was bleeding. They moved his hand and blood started seeping again. So they put the hand again and the blood stopped. And they wrote this to Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, and he replied that bury him in another good place where the land would not open up. So this is over here, he put his hand over there, and after how many years? Nearly 300 years. Because this happened 300 years after Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was raised in the year nearly 600 years after Isa alayhi salam. So this is nearly 350, 60 years after, in the time of Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, and Abdullah ibn Tamir's body was as it was the day it was buried. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserves and protects the body of the shuhada, as it says over here, وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ قُتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَمْوَاتًا بَلْ أَحْيَاءٌ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ يُرْزَقُونَ فَرِحِينَ بِمَا آتَاهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ وَيَسْتَبْشِرُونَ بِالَّذِينَ لَمْ يَلْحَقُوا بِهِمْ مِنْ خَلْفِهِمْ أَلَّا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. I remember the story of mentioned by Dr. Noor Muhammad of Karachi. Long story, I will cut it short. He says that there was some digging going on in one area. There was a river which was being diverted, and they were going to construct a road over there in Pakistan, Karachi. So the foreman who was overseeing all the project and workers were working, he saw that some workers are standing at one place and not working. So he said, "Oh bhai, my friends, why are you not working? Come on." And they called him over, come here, see this. And he went, and what did they see? That while they were digging, that in that river, there was a river flowing from there. So they had stopped the river water, they diverted it in another direction, and beneath the river, where they were digging to make a road, they see that they had uncovered a body. The body of a person who had been martyred in the path of Allah, because he had some blood stains on his body, which was a sign that this was a shaheed, and it's his body. Now they uncovered it, and everybody was looking at it, and while they were looking at it, and they had uncovered all the soil and everything, moved it, and the whole body was at his what do they see? They see a special fruit on his lips, and from time to time some juice is coming out and going inside. Now they all saw this with their own eyes. This is bal ahya'un 'inda rabbihim yurzaqun. They are being given rizq by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometimes Allah shows us that the shaheed is alive and he is being provided. Over here, this some fruit like strawberry or cherry or something like that on his mouth, and they can see that juice going inside. Dr. Sahib says that foreman saw it with his own eyes, and he told me the incident as he saw it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps the bodies of the shuhada intact as they were buried, the day they were buried. Over here as well, Abdullah ibn Tamir's body, after 360, 70 years, it was alive as it was. Now, moving on to the story, the king had brought the arrow, and he shot it, and he killed Abdullah ibn Tamir, this young man, and he was martyred, and he lowered his head because he was hung on there. So he lowered his head and he was killed. Now, فَقَالَ النَّاسِ آمَنَّا بِرَبِّ الْغُلَامِ. Now the people, when they saw all this, all the huge crowd in that arena, when they saw all this, they started saying, Amanna bi Rabbil Ghulam, Amanna bi Rabbil Ghulam, Amanna bi Rabbil Ghulam. We believe in the Rabb of that young man. We believe in the Rabb of that young man. Because everybody, the news has spread. He used to cure people. He used to cure the blind, the dead, the lepers and the sick people. So people already knew about the young man. They already heard about the incident of the soldiers from the cliff and in the ship. And now this incident, Bismillah Rabbil Ghulam. Now the king was not very intelligent. He couldn't understand what the young man was trying to do. So he fell for it. And this is what happens when a person disbelieves in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His aql and logic is taken away. He doesn't understand what is being done to him. So he fell for the trick and he did what the young man told him. And he said Bismillah Rabbil Ghulam, and the people started believing in Rabbul Ghulam. Now when people started saying this, Amanna bi Rabbil Ghulam, Amanna bi Rabbil Ghulam, فَأُتِيَ الْمَلِكِ, someone came to the king and فَقِيلَ لَهُ, and said to him, أَرَأَيْتَ مَا كُنْتَ تَحْذَرُ قَدْ وَاللَّهِ نَزَلَ بِكَ حَذَرُ. Do you see that which you were fearing, which you were apprehending? Wallah, that thing which you were scared of has turned upon you. Meaning it has happened. What has happened? قَدْ آمَنَ النَّاسِ. Everybody has brought faith and they are all believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now the king, rather than believing, he was more angry because of his stupidity and lack of understanding. And what did he say? He said, فَأَمَرَ بِالْأُخْدُودِ بِأَفْوَاهِ السِّكَكِ فَخُدَّتْ وَأُضْرِمَ فِيهَا النِّيرَانِ. He commanded the soldiers to go and dig trenches on the roadsides. Like in war zones, they dig trenches and they walk in them so that the bombs don't and the shooting does not harm them. So he said that on the roads where people walk, on the sides, dig some long trenches and make fire in there and bring lots of wood and make fires. So the fire, the fires were struck and lit. When the fires, like bomb fires, they were huge and massive. He said, مَنْ لَمْ يَرْجِعْ عَنْ دِينِهِ فَأَخْحِمُوهُ فِيهَا. Whoever does not return from his deen and renounce his deen, then throw him inside the fire. أَوْ قِيلَ لَهُ اِخْتَحِمْ. Or he was ordered to jump in there. فَفَعَلُوا. So they started doing this. حَتَّى جَاءَتْ إِمْرَأَةٌ وَمَعَهَا صَبِيٌّ. Until a lady came and she had with her a baby of hers. فَتَقَاعَسَتْ. She hesitated slightly and تَقَعَ فِيهَا, from jumping inside. فَقَالَ لَهَا الْغُلَامِ. So the young child, baby, said to her, يَا أُمَّا اصْبِرِي فَإِنَّكِ عَلَى الْحَقِّ. Dear mother, be steady, be patient. You are upon haqq, upon the right path. So, meaning, she also jumped inside and she gave her life as well for the sake of that haqq deen. She did not want to become kafir mushrik, so she also gave her life. Now, مَنْ لَمْ يَرْجِعْ عَنْ دِينِهِ فَأَقْحِمُهُ فِيهَا. Understandable. They started bringing people, throwing inside and punishing them. Everywhere you could see fires, and the army killing people. Just as we had seen some time ago in Misr, in Rabia al-Adawiyya, the huge fires we saw in which many people were killed. It's the same as these Ashab al-Ukhdud. قُتِلَ أَصْحَابُ الْأُخْدُودِ النَّارِ ذَاتِ الْوَقُودِ إِذْ هُمْ عَلَيْهَا قُعُودٌ وَهُمْ عَلَى مَا يَفْعَلُونَ بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ شُهُودٌ وَمَا نَقَمُوا مِنْهُمْ إِلَّا أَنْ يُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ الْعَزِيزِ الْحَمِيدِ الَّذِي لَهُ مُلْكُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ شَهِيدٌ. Allah is a witness over everything. Allah knows these tests and trials. They have come before as well. They have come now as well. They will keep coming till the day of Qiyamah. Ummah-e-Muhammadiyya is a strong ummah. And inshallah, ummah will not fail. Ummah will progress, inshallah. Like they progressed over here as well. So, they were all thrown in there. فَفَعَلُوا حَتَّى جَاءَتْ إِمْرَأَةٌ وَمَعَهَا صَبِيٌّ لَهَا. A woman came and with her was a child of hers. How old was this child? Ibn Qutaybah said the child was only 7 months old. Now 7-month-old baby does not speak. Now this child spoke very eloquently. And the child said, Isbiri ya umma fa innaki alallah. When the mother was hesitating, she was scared, she was going to turn back. Now the child who is in her lap, she is speaking, oh mom, don't go back, don't go back. Jump into the fire. You are okay, we are on haqq, and we don't have to be scared, we don't need to be scared. So she also jumped in there. Now over here, this debate comes with regards to a child speaking. Many small children spoke in their infancy, like Sayyiduna Isa ala nabiyina wa alayhi salam, who spoke immediately after birth. فَأَتَتْ بِهِ قَوْمَهَا تَحْمِلُهُ قَالُوا يَا مَرْيَمُ لَقَدْ جِئْتِ شَيْئًا فَرِيًّا يَا أُخْتَ هَارُونَ مَا كَانَ أَبُوكِ امْرَأَ سَوْءٍ وَمَا كَانَتْ أُمُّكِ بَغِيًّا. When they all said this, accused her, she said, فَأَشَارَتْ إِلَيْهِ, she pointed towards the child. قَالُوا كَيْفَ نُكَلِّمُ مَنْ كَانَ فِي الْمَهْدِ صَبِيًّا. How can we, are you making fun of us? How can we talk to a baby in the cradle? She's just newly born. She's just been born. She's not even 24 hours old. Sorry, the baby is not even 24 hours old. Less than a day old baby, and you are telling us to talk to the baby and ask the baby? You're making fun of us. You think we're stupid. كَيْفَ نُكَلِّمُ مَنْ كَانَ فِي الْمَهْدِ صَبِيًّا. And while this argument is going on, Sayyiduna Isa ala nabiyina wa alayhi salatu wassalam speaks. قَالَ إِنِّي عَبْدُ اللَّهِ آتاني الكتاب وجعلني نبيا وجعلني مباركا أينما كنت وأوصاني بالصلاة والزكاة ما دمت حيا وبرا بوالدتي ولم يجعلني جبارا شقيا والسلام علي يوم ولدت ويوم أموت ويوم أبعث حيا. Allah said, ذلك عيسى ابن مريم قول الحق الذي فيه يمترون ما كان لله أن يتخذ من ولد سبحانه إذا قضى أمرا فإنما يقول له كن فيكون. And Isa alayhi salam also said, وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ رَبِّي وَرَبُّكُمْ فَاعْبُدُوهُ هَذَا صِرَاطٌ مُسْتَقِيمٌ. So this is the conversation of Isa alayhi salam while he was in the cradle. Some others also spoke. One of them is this baby who said to its mother that, oh mother, isbiri fa innaki Allah. Another incident of a baby speaking is the incident of Jurayj al-Rahib. The hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari, that Jurayj was a monk and he used to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his hut on a mountain, wherever. One day he was busy worshipping and his mother came to call him for some reason. She needed some help. And she said, Jurayj. And he thought to himself, shall I answer my mom or shall I keep praying? Shall I answer my mom or keep praying? Shall I respond to her or keep praying? And he said, I'll keep praying. My mom always keeps calling me. So he just continued his prayer. So his mom went back. After a while, she came again and he was praying again. And this time she said, Jurayj, please come here. And again he kept on praying. So his mother was angry, and in her anger and frustration she said, Allahumma la tumithu hatta turiyahu wujuhal mumisat. Oh Allah, don't give him death until you show him the face of a prostitute, a bad woman who commits zina, fornication. So he has to face something like that. She was angry. So never make your mother angry. Young children sitting over here, when your mom calls you for food, for come down, do your homework, have your food, then don't keep playing games. Over here, Jurayj wasn't playing games, he was praying salah. And there you play games and you don't listen to your mom. So never make your mom angry, always listen to your mom, whatever she says. So over here he said, kept on praying. His mother made this badwa curse and she left. She was really angry. So the student just kept on playing. Now he stayed over there. Next day what happens is, there was this bad lady who was passing by. She went towards that side and she had this desire to sleep with a man. So that urge was pressing her. So she went inside, Jurayj's place of worship. He was alone. So she tried to take his attention, but Jurayj did not pay attention. She took off her clothes and she started dancing around, and she tried to distract him and making noise, telling him, come on, sleep with me, commit zina with me, fornicate with me. But Jurayj didn't pay any attention. So he just kept looking down, and he was really scared. He said, please go away from here, please don't do this to me. Now, she just came down, she just put on her clothes, came down, but she was still desperate. So in her desperation, she saw this shepherd who was looking after some goat, sheep. He was also alone. She went to the shepherd and she slept with him. And she fornicated. And from that fornication, she became pregnant. Now when she delivered the child, people asked her, you are not married, where did you get this child from? And she said, this child is of Jurayj. Jurayj slept with me and he made me pregnant. And the people were really angry. Jurayj, he's a monk, he looks a nice person, he looks a worshipping good person, and he does this to you. So they all take their sticks and pickaxe and everything, and they come over here and in that anger start demolishing his place of worship. So he said, what happened? What happened? What happened? You don't know what happened. You're telling us, you're showing us your piety, and then you are fornicating with this woman. I said, I didn't fornicate. Which woman? What happened? This woman, she's saying this baby is yours. He said, no, it's not mine. And whose is it then? I don't know. And then he said, okay, bring the baby to me. So while they bring the baby, he made wudu, prayed 2 rakat salah, whatever manner, and then he made dua, oh Allah, please help me out. And then he came to the baby and he asked the baby, oh baby, who is your father? And the baby spoke, newborn baby, and the baby said, Fulanun ar-ra'i, that shepherd over there, he is the one who is my father. And the people said, oh, he is a big wali of Allah, this is karamat, miracle, this newborn baby is speaking. So they said, oh Mr. Jurayj, sorry. My Ustaz Shaykh Yunus Sahib said, here Jurayj means George. Today we call him George. But then in the olden days, his name Jurayj. So Jurayj is changed into George. So Mr. George, you are a very nice person. And sorry we bothered you and we did this to you. We will make your sum'ah, place of worship, from gold. He said, no, don't make it from gold. Make it as it was before, in the simple manner. So this is one of the children who spoke up for Jurayj in its infancy, after it was born and before the natural speech of children. Also, Shahidu Yusuf. When Yusuf alayhi salam was accused, وَشَهِدَ شَاهِدٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِهَا إِنْ كَانَ قَمِيصُهُ قُدَّ مِنْ قُبُلٍ فَصَدَقَتْ وَهُوَ مِنَ الْكَاذِبِينَ وَإِنْ كَانَ قَمِيصُهُ قُدَّ مِنْ دُبُرٍ فَكَذَبَتْ وَهُوَ مِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ. Mufassirin say that this was statement of a newborn baby who someone was carrying and passing by. The baby spoke, and then the king saw that, oh, this is right. So one of the versions over there is that small baby spoke over there. So there are some young small babies whose incidents are mentioned, who spoke in their cradle while they were small babies, and these are some of the incidents that are mentioned. Over here, Isbiri ya umma fa innaki ala al-haqqi, for this woman. Over there, Isa alayhi salam. Over there in the case of Jurayj. Over there in the case of Yusuf alayhi salam. Many other incidents. In fact, Suyuti has mentioned 10 such incidents, 10 small babies speaking in their cradle after their birth and before their normal time of speaking, which is mentioned in some poetry as well. However, we do not want to go into that. The lesson over here is sabr. We see the sabr of those who were tortured and who were torn into 2 pieces by the sword. We see the sabr of that young man, and we see the sabr of this whole nation, that they were thrown into the fire, but they were patient. And we see the sabr of this lady as well. Isbiri ya umma fa innaki ala al-haq. So the whole hadith is about sabr, patience, forbearing, being steadfast, and being patient on any problem that comes upon us. Whether this problem is in our body, our health, our wealth, our family, our wife, our children, our family members, parents, whether the family is in community, in our society, on the country, on the Muslims around the world. In every instance, whatever we hear, whatever news we get, we should not be frustrated and start accusing Allah or saying bad words about Allah. We should try and be patient and do sabr and say inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un and turn to Allah, ask Allah for help. Whenever we hear any sad news, we should turn to Allah and seek Allah's help. This is the lesson from this hadith. So this hadith has come to a close. Inshallah, we will move on to the next hadith next week, inshallah. Still, Imam Nawawi rahmatullahi alayhi has extended this chapter of sabr, and it's the longest chapter from what we have seen. The chapter of ikhlas and the chapter of tawbah was not as long as this chapter of sabr, because we need this sabr today. So this is why Imam Nawawi is bringing in many ahadith related to sabr. Inshallah, we will continue next week, inshallah. Mukhtasar dua. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم تسليما. اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا وعملا صالحا ورزقا حلالا طيبا واسعا وشفاء من كل داء. ربنا أفرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. اللهم اجعلنا صابرين شاكرين قابلين لنعمتك مثنين بها قابليها وأتمها علينا يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية والمعافاة الدائمة في الدين والدنيا والآخرة. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. وصلى اللهم وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا رب.